Hello, everyone. My name is Dimitris. Welcome to my talk. And today I will be talking you through noise to substance and how a cloud-native security solution can boost your productivity if you are an SRE, a DevOps, DevSecOps, or a security analyst. And I will walk you through how everything can be put together. A few housekeeping items. Who am I? What do I know? And why we're here? I'm a solution architect at Point Security. I've been doing cybersecurity almost all my career, more than 24 years now. I started off as a Cisco network and security architect, then evolved to the managed security space. I was part of Trustwave for 7 years, then pivoted over to IBM X-Force. All in all, I'm very passionate about cloud-native security. That's why I pursued becoming one of the golden cube astronauts. So here I am, happy to walk you through what I believe it's my perspective on doing proper cloud-native security that would be able to reduce noise and alert fatigue for security analysts, close the context gap, and pretty much benefit the whole community, SRE, DevOps, and security folks alike. So let's start with the main question. I get asked a lot in the field, why do we need a runtime-based approach to cloud-native security? Isn't that enough what we already have and loved since 2020s with the agentless approach, where we could have a snapshot at any point in time in regular intervals that will provide us with the configuration visibility and build a topology map? Well, the short answer for me, it's no, not really, because you can have visibility of what is configured, but not what is running now. And what is missing is what I like to call as actionable visibility. Also, if you don't have runtime visibility, you will be missing out all the important risk factors that will help you prioritize your risk. The agentless-only approach will tell you, oh, a misconfiguration exists in an asset. That's great, but does it tell you if that asset is actually exposed to the internet? Is it accepting ingress traffic? Does that workload handle sensitive data? All of that information is being provided by the runtime context, so prioritization is paramount here. Filter out the noise. More than 95% of the noise can be abstracted and focus on the things that truly matter. The other element is that cloud security has to keep up with the evolving pace of attacks. And if I'm relying on snapshots to detect what has happened 5 hours ago or 12 hours ago, maybe the attackers were in and out, and I'm just looking at the aftermath. So it's really important to have fast and context-rich security insights on a second-by-second basis. That would help you filter out the noise and focus on what matters. I talk a lot about cutting through the noise. What exactly do I mean? Here are a few bullet points. Internet exposure. So if you have a critical vulnerability or a finding in a workload that is not exposed to the internet, do you really need to act upon that right now? Probably not. What about vulnerabilities? If you have a tool that scans for vulnerabilities and reports 1,000 CVEs high and criticals for one particular image, do you really want to remediate all of those? Why don't you take into consideration the runtime context and say, okay, how many of those are actually loaded in memory when the workload is running, when the application is running? You will be surprised that you will see a 90+% reduction on the CVEs that are associated with packages that are actively loaded in memory. So straight away, the runtime context can help you prioritize that. Privileged identities. Is my exposed workload, exposed to the internet workload, also has overprivileged identity, workload identity, or has interaction with the cloud APIs in a privileged way. This is something that you can visualize when you have visibility at the runtime context. What is happening with AI workloads? Do I have some workloads that talk to public GenAI services? Are they protected? What kind of traffic is it going in and out? Another element of visibility that you need to have and cut through the noise. Another question that I get is, what do you mean by actionable visibility? It's great to have visibility, and that's something that comes without saying, but it needs to be something that I can act upon as a security practitioner. I really need to visualize the risk that exists in my workload right now, not 5 hours ago or a day ago. And it needs to give me some additional context so I can act upon that. For instance, let's say that I have a workload running in my container, in my cluster right now. Wouldn't it be great to see what vulnerabilities are associated with that particular image now and compare that with the next iteration of my image? If I had a way to see a delta of now in my running workload, I have, let's say, 20 vulnerabilities that are loaded in memory. And now when I'm spinning up the new version of the image, I might have 50. I need a tool to tell me, I suggest you go back to the drawing board. Don't deploy that yet. Remediate those excessive vulnerabilities that you're introducing, and then move on. It would be also great to customize and automate policies and notifications. Open a Jira ticket, for instance, when you have a new vulnerability or a new combined risk associated with a runtime context. Or send a Slack message to the team. Leverage AI as an extension of your team. We hear that a lot. Not many players actually do that very well. Now, I thought it makes sense to break that down based on each particular team. So the benefits for DevOps, what DevOps care about, they need to focus on creating production-grade tool that has as fewer vulnerabilities and misconfigurations as possible. This is the main target. How can a tool help them in their mission? By surfacing only or highlighting the vulnerabilities that are actually loaded in memory, so they know exactly what they need to remediate next. Integrate runtime context with CI/CD pipelines. Contextualize SCA findings with the running context. Who pushed that image? What was the details of the repo that image was involved? Even Git commits and so on would be useful to have. And have that consolidated in a single view that everyone could go in and get the different elements that are consumable for their purpose. What about SREs? What do SREs care about the most? Reliability and stability. They are happy if things work out very well. But when things go south, they need to have the right tool and visibility to identify what workload is misbehaving. What are the interconnected east-west traffic or north-south traffic? Then you would need to visualize that and act upon very quickly. Spot any risky operational issues. Is the workload affected by an external interaction? And of course, it needs to be complemented with additional context from observability. That's a fact. SecOps, so security analysts, what do they care about? Mean time to detect and mean time to response. So how quickly can I identify something that is truly suspicious in my environment, and how can I quickly contain that? So having fast detection with meaningful context, with suggestions on what exactly is going wrong, nice visualization to understand what are the interconnected components, and would greatly help them to get in a decision that this is something that I can surgically isolate or kill and not impact my existing workloads. And of course, fend off attackers that are lurking around in my environment. Automatic remediation is something that is very useful for SOC analysts. So this should be part of the capabilities of right tooling as well. I'm right on time. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me in our booth, in the AppWin Security booth on the left here. And see you later.